Kia ora, everyone. Welcome to the Unable Seaman podcast, the podcast designed to take a light-hearted look at all things boating and fishing in New Zealand. Once again, I'm Jake Kerr, your host, and joining me, as always, is my first mate, best mate, Christian Jensen. How are you, mate? How are you?
Not bad, man. Not bad. Hey, guest of the show yet again.
Guest of the show. Yeah, well, I haven't got any other people who want to be guests, so I'm stuck with you.
Oh, well, that's cool. That's cool. Keep introducing me as the main guest, you know?
I think maybe we could almost elevate you to host status.
Co-host.
Host status, yeah. What's been happening?
Oh, well, we've had some mint days. Should have gone out fishing. Actually, my partner, Chelsea, said, yeah, we'll go out fishing on Saturday. It was a pearler in Wellington. Glassy, beautiful. But I ended up pulling down my fence and started building a new one.
Oh, exciting times! I'm really glad I've got you on the show to talk about that. You know.
Yeah, man. I can tell you about Mitre 10.
Yeah, exactly what the listeners want to hear.
Yeah,
you are right though about the weather has been outstanding. It's we're recording this. It's the 5th of July, and it's been very cold at night, and it's freezing here now. But man, the days we're
freezing.
having. Yeah, actually, we might as well jump straight into it before we get to a little bit of admin. Winter fishing, do you rate it?
Yeah, man. Oh, and I really rate winter diving too. Because the water's clearer.
Yep.
Fishing wise, okay, it's a little bit different. You know, in Wellington, the species definitely die off. So you get gurnard, you get a lot of barracuda, but the kingies are on out at Hunter's Bank and all that. So it's all still good.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit harder fishing.
So you'd be sort of getting one or two as opposed to fishing a big bite time or
That's exactly it. It's still worth getting out though. It's just different.
And do you find the jig slow down or bait and burley?
Everything slows down. Yep. But I reckon that when you get a kingy, she's big and she's in good nick.
Yeah.
And so it's well worth it. You get out there and you go, yeah, we might not get something today, but when we do, whoo, Nelly, hold on tight, man. You're going to get railed, Jimmy. You're going to get railed.
I think it's also so much more rewarding as well because you normally have to get up early and it's cold and you've had to sort of fight the elements and you put the boat in at the ramp and you've got your balls wet with the water up even though you didn't want to, even though you're just trying to get your ankles wet and you end up to your testicles. And so I think every fish you catch, although they might not be as prolific as the summer months or spring months, they feel so much more, so much more special. I would agree with you. I think it slows down a bit. I find the jig fishing goes off where I fish, which is in the Bay of Islands. Although I know people listening would be saying the opposite. I follow that Ocean Angler page, and they seem to catch fish on jigs all year round.
But we know that the water temperatures cools off a little bit, and the aggression in the fish cools off a little bit, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and I watched an episode of Lateral Line.
Yep.
The last one, and they went soft baiting. They went out of Tairua Harbour and soft baited along a face. Exactly that sort of soft baiting that I was always talking. You know, people sort of love showing footage of, which is that casting into the wash and trying to pull snapper out. Now, pretty much follows on from what we've said. They casted for basically a day, just trying to judge by the footage, and got a couple of snapper. You know, got a feed, and made an episode, but not as prolific as usual. I just want to pick up on the comment you said about diving. Do you really dive this time of year?
Yeah, man. Oh, I turn into a female.
Yeah,
like my young Johnson. Turns into I definitely associate with a different gender afterwards.
Is it worth it?
Sometimes it's not, but sometimes you get in there and you get a brain freeze when you hit that water, eh? Ooh, but I still think it's worth it. I still think you get down there. You don't like crayfish, but there's still good crayfish to be had. Yeah. It's still I just love getting in the water, man, and I'm not going to let a little bit of cold water stop that. Less people at the boat ramps, you know. There are some great benefits. Like you'll get there, and your feet freeze straight away as soon as you touch the water. But there's less people at the boat ramps, less pressure. It can be a pearler of the day, and you might be one of the only people there.
Yeah, no,
it's pretty choice.
I definitely think there is a lot to be said for winter boating. Yep, you're diving.
Oh, mate,
I think I would
you're a
struggle,
gentle soul at the best of times.
mate. I'm a fair weather diver.
Yeah, yeah,
Although
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I will say, my last dive was in April. I took some students across to get their
And
dive certificate.
don't tell me that was cold.
It it was okay. We had good gear, so we used all the rental gear, which is actually good gear. And I see what you mean about the clarity of the water. That definitely made it worth it, and just made diving so much more fun. And in fact, it almost frustrates you when you think of some of the dives I've done in the past. I haven't done a lot of diving, not like you, but some of the ones I have been on where it's been murky, and when you get
Yeah.
a good dive like that, you think, man, why do I bother with that other stuff?
And that's where you go to winter diving in Wellington, and you'll get some days where you just feel like you can see
Yeah,
into the distance. It's
yeah,
fantastic. You can see the
yeah.
crayfish from the top. It's fantastic.
Oh, how good.
But
Yeah,
whoa, okay, I know you don't like crayfish. I know that, but you can see other things, and it's beautiful. But they say that over in not Hunter's Bank, sorry, Stevens Passage, Durval Island, winter fishing is the best for kingies. Now,
yeah.
you and I would probably disagree with that with our experiences, but
Yeah,
yeah,
for those that don't know, we have talked about it before, but Christian brought his new boat. The
oh
maiden
yeah,
voyage was taken out to Durval Island. We had issues where the floor started bending and all sorts, which we've spoken about before on the podcast. So we won't go into that too much again. But everyone had said exactly that. Oh, winter fishing Durval Island, you'll come home with a bin full. I
yeah.
think we got one legal kingy.
Yeah, I think that was it. You caught it.
Yeah, yeah.
But a stuck ton of bloody kawai and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything else under the
And we
sun.
threw everything in. It was the classic boys' mission. Take all the
Oh,
gear and use. And to be fair, we did use all of it and had
yeah.
almost zero success.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Yeah,
It's
it was
fun.
so cold.
Like, come on, we'll do it again.
Oh, I'd do it again. And it was so cold. Christian had this cooker on his boat, like this little gas
Oh,
cooker,
yeah.
which was massively dangerous. I mean, the thing had an open flame. But anyway, what we were doing to stay
and
warm
tote
was
tanks.
squatting, right by the tote tanks, was squatting over this flame, trying to stay warm between
That's it.
jigging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it made the video. Anyway, bro, just a bit of admin. Normally you do this at the start of the show, but I thought we were on a bit of a roll there. Couple of things to report.
Mm-hmm.
Surtees Boats has reached out to us.
Surtees.
30s.
Whoa.
How
Oh,
good.
mate.
I mean, it was to correct me. I wrongly said that their smallest boat. Well, here's a bit of ambiguity. I said their smallest boat was a 470. Now I stick by that. I'm sure they do a 470.
Or did. Maybe it's a did.
Did. And I think that Nace came out and said the smallest boat they do is now the 5.
Hey.
Something or other.
You could say, well, this is like, the smallest girlfriend I ever had was blah. But, like it still happened.
Yeah, it's right. It's right. So I apologize for getting that stat wrong. But good on Surtees for calling me out. Clearly they listen, which is
they're
awesome
probably going to be our best, lead sponsor.
Yeah. Which is tricky.
Hey, Surtees, I hear you made a 12 meter. You want to correct me now?
Well, I'm going to be honest and say exactly what I said to them, in that I have always been a snob. Always been a snob with probably with alloy boats in general, but particularly with some of those ones like Surtees. And I always thought they were glorified garden sheds.
Oh, ouch.
I know it's ouch. And I think for some of the early ones, and I'm not just having a go at Surtees here, there's a lot of those sort of basic alloy boats that were fairly primitive. You wouldn't agree? You would agree, wouldn't you?
Oh, massively.
Yeah, but
come on, yeah. Anyway,
as we said at the last podcast, that's changed now. The game's lifted, and there's so many alloy boats doing some amazing things in terms of finish and layout and stuff. I'll tell you the other thing.
And you saw it at the boat show.
I saw it at the boat show, and Surtees was absolutely one of the leaders there. The innovation with, for example, only fitting half the bow rail on their hardtop so that you can have a Minn Kota. So if you watch Fishing and Adventure with Mig and Mig and help me out, what's the other guy's name? Scott. They have a boat set up for that. So the customization that they're doing is really, really cool. The other thing I reckon is that C-Deck product. That C-Deck product, geez, it's good.
Yeah,
So many
that does
boats
really
that have it.
softens the boat, eh? When you go from
Oh,
having a checkered floor or that tube matting.
yeah, those checkered floors are rubbish. They're like a prison cell. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but
yeah.
also, yeah, okay, I was gonna have a little, DEL boat. That's cool.
No. We're not.
Similar
We're talking about
qualities.
30s. We're not talking about my boats.
Okay,
Um, but yeah,
it does sound like you're ripping them, but you spin it around and say, but now.
well, and I said that I was absolutely honest in that I said, look, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mentioned that alloy boats were not my cup of tea, and that fiberglass was. But after seeing some of their product, particularly that boat show prize that they had, that gate prize, that was such a cool boat.
Oh yeah, you'd have that in a heartbeat, and you could
I'd have
drive
that
away
in a
on the
heartbeat.
spot rather than
Yeah,
waiting like
yeah,
2 years or whatever.
yeah.
Now,
So I definitely, yeah,
so did you
had a
go
had a
back? Go back
mindset
though.
change.
Did you secure a sponsorship for us?
Unsurprisingly, no.
Uh,
However, that
oh.
could still hang in the balance, but I probably have undone the sponsorship by comparing them to garden sheds a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, I think you did.
However,
So,
Sergies, if you are listening to this podcast as well, I've said some nice
yeah.
things now, and if you wanted to maybe continue my journey into liking alloy boats or being
I think I might have to
accepting of
approach
alloy
Cena,
boats,
bro.
yeah, we would
Oh
certainly
god.
appreciate. Having said that, as you know, we're trying to jack up Mig from Fishing Adventure to do a guest episode with us at some point. So I'm sure he will be fighting
He's
from the
keen.
Surtees corner, and it sounds like
Yeah,
he's keen,
well,
which is awesome. But he will obviously be he will counter
we'll probably have to
any.
do it from his boat. Do the podcast from his boat.
That would be cool. I mean, our audio's already poor enough, so
We don't lose anything.
yeah, we're only going to get the echo of an alloy cabin.
Yeah.
What I'll say though is this, and this is it's going to roll into something else, which so this is the problem with
Oh,
this podcast.
ready for the segue.
Okay, part of a segue. We sort of spoke last time about boat shows and the relevance of them, but I'm also going to talk about sponsoring shows. Okay, now as you know, we love Dicky boats. Dicky boats. I've really got a soft spot for white pointer boats as well. I think they're amazing.
And what's the other one? Circa.
Circa. Yeah, we really like the Circa, but their presence in terms of seeing them on TV shows or seeing them at boat shows and stuff is really sort of quite under the radar. I'll give you an example. We stepped on a Dicky at when I say we, my father-in-law and I stepped on a Dicky at the underwater boat show last year, and I was made to feel really uncomfortable, if I'm honest, about just being there. Like the salesman wasn't that interested, and sort of was a bit fussy about us being on the boat.
Because you probably rocked up in your stubbies, your wife beater. You're probably drinking a fine, bro.
Oh, totally. Look, I was in no way in a position to purchase one. However, my argument is this: who knows who's going to purchase one? And secondly, you're at a boat show. I mean, as we said, you're at a boat show. You've got to be willing to have, 99.9% of the people at that show are not going to buy your boat.
Nah.
So it's about getting your
chance.
brand out there. And this is where I want to pat Surtees on the back. They had an epic stand at the show.
Yeah.
They're sponsoring fishing shows.
Yep, they are.
And like, our little 2-bit podcast with two listeners.
They went out of their way to give you a call.
Like and
they're like, who are these clowns getting these facts from? I fact check the shtick out of them.
That's cool. So I think there's something to be said for that.
Okay, I'll give you that. So these guys, they've got more time for us plebs.
They have, and I like that. But the segue I was getting to earlier before I went on that little tangent is,
mighty tangent.
That's not the only alloy boat I'm excited about.
Oh,
strap in for this, my friend. Okay.
Okay, I'm holding myself down.
Okay, I'm thinking how I introduce this to you, so that I'm trying to think of build dramatic, a bit of sort of drama for the listeners and for you. Okay, think of a wake boat.
A wake boat.
What do you think of?
The classic ski nautique.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the fiberglass thing? They've got a big prop, shaft drive thing with a rudder. You need a big deep boat ramp. You drop them in, and they've got these They're big motors, big boats, big wake, happy days.
Yeah, you're right. And
Yeah,
that's essentially what they are. But a New Zealand company, Nomad Jets, has just created an
Nomad jets. Okay.
alloy, let me get that right, alloy jet boat. But it's a
Wakeboard.
wake boat,
Huh.
alloy wakeboard boat. Okay.
What's it
It's got,
like?
well, listeners, we'll put it on our
So
Instagram
what
at
do I
Enable
type
Seaman.
in to see
But
this?
for the listeners, you can also jump on, go to Nomad Jets on their website. Okay,
Control A.
6 litre V8,
Oh man.
400 horsepower, brilliant paint job, cool layout. There's a couple of videos there. Okay, but bro, here's where I'm all in on it. Okay,
Oh, I see it here. Yeah, with the cool blue
yeah,
wakeboard boats for those on a different journey.
because all those boats you mentioned before, the ski nautiques and all that, I'm going to be honest, they do nothing for me. They're chintzy, they're massively expensive. They do one job.
Yeah.
There's all these like restrictions on where you can actually use them in terms of like depth, and as you say, shaft driven, and they're just like it's not for me,
Yeah, yeah. This looks good, man. This looks real good.
bro.
And there's a
This
few
thing is more
videos
than that.
here.
Alloy, so you can
Six
run it
liter
up to,
V8, 400 horsepower, the Hammerhead River Run.
so
Oh,
you can run it on the beach. You can bang your wakeboard up against it.
and it
Okay,
looks
the
like you could
finish is
use
really
that front
nice.
thing. The front thing could be a casting platform thing.
You could fish out of it exactly. You can operate in the shallows. You could use it as just a jet boat.
Yep,
Okay,
yep, yep.
now
Mind you, with a 6 liter V8, I don't. Okay. Anyway,
you still need a bit
that's
of
not.
grunt for wakeboarding in there. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's not going to be the most fuel
And
efficient
was
thing.
there one at the boat show?
There was one at the boat show. Now I forgot to mention it in last time's podcast. However, it doesn't matter because I'm glad I mentioned it now because we have had correspondence from Nomad Jets as well.
What?
I reached out to
What?
them. I met them at the boat show and was really blown away by that product. I think New Zealand made, epic. Anything New Zealand made, I love supporting. And it's filling in a real, I think it's filling in a real sweet spot in the wakeboard market. Because, like I say, you've got those really expensive wake boats at the top end of the scale.
Mm-hmm.
$200,000 for this thing
Yeah,
with a
they
stupid
are.
paint job, and they're a bit.
Yeah.
They're like the. You know, how people drive around in those like really. They're like the boy races of the boat world.
They can't do much, eh?
They can't do much. They're stupid looking, make a whole lot of noise. They're all about poses. They're posers boats.
We
Then,
would have had one when we were 18.
then the other end of the spectrum of the wakeboard boats is the knackered old bayliner with a tower that doesn't fit properly, and a whole lot of guys on it trying to weigh it down. Right?
We
That's
do that
the,
quite well.
that's the sort of category that you and I probably come into. And to be fair, it does a pretty good job. Okay.
Yeah. So what is this?
This is bang in the middle.
Do you talk about price?
I don't know the price. I knew you were going to ask that, and it makes us look massively inept that we don't know the pricing for this boat.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Nomad Jets. Yeah, if you were serious, I'm sure you could contact them and get
I'll call them now. I'll be like, hey mate, I'm real keen on this jet. Cash buyer.
It's an extremely cool product, and I actually think even if it's the same as a Nautique or those other brands, those the G23 or whatever it is, I still think this has got more breadth of ability.
Yeah, I'd give you that, bro. And like it says here, Scott Waterjet 852, whatever. Okay, I don't know much about jets to be honest. Blah blah blah. Just everything's tough about it. Heavy duty, fully adjustable, stainless steel, and spherical bearings, split duct reverse bucket. This is epic. Skid plate protect the other side of your jet when you bash into rocks. Because imagine wakeboarding up a river.
Well, the thing is even if I don't know if you wakeboard up a river, you potentially could, but even if you weren't wakeboarding, you could go river blasting in this thing. That's what I mean. There's so much more you can do with this thing. I really like it. I think it's great looking. The technology, as you've just mentioned, looks. I mean, again, I don't know much about jets either, but all those things sound really good.
Yeah. Hey, and you could go fishing from this. I like how it's got the like a hard top front where you can put a cover on the front.
Yeah, bro, how good.
That's cool. This is clever. This guy's thought about it.
Well, so it is a newish product, and as I reached out to him and he remembered me and I told him about our podcast, so hopefully he's tuned in. And if he has, g'day mate, how are you? I should know your name, but hang on, I'm going to find your name because it's really rude of me that I have forgotten.
Okay, we are organised again.
Clayton, there we go. It's Clayton. I just remembered that. So g'day, Clayton, if you're listening. Now, here's the cool thing. He wants to do something cool to launch this boat, to bring it onto the New Zealand market.
And he's coming to the biggest boating and fishing podcast there is in New Zealand currently.
You betcha. So I'm
He's
quite
approached us. Or have you approached him?
Well, I've approached him and he was polite
said,
enough to give me the time of day. he didn't tell me to piss off, so there we go.
Okay,
so,
that's a good start.
So I think we definitely need to interview this man.
Okay.
And I want him to tell us about this product. So I think it's something our listeners would like. And he's had a really cool idea for a launch. I don't want to say too much because it's not my secret.
Oh, it's his secret. So this is yet to be launched, this bad boy.
Well, no, it's been launched at the boat show, but he wants to do something cool for like the summer to just get a bit of publicity, I suppose.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
All I'm going to say to you,
mm-hmm.
have you still got your wakeboard?
Yeah, of course.
And how long do you reckon you could last on a wakeboard?
Oh, about 30 seconds.
Okay, we're going to need to build that up. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to say too much more on air here about.
Well, you don't want to like, what is it? Set the expectations high and deliver low.
I don't want to do that, but also, as I said, it's not my thing to release, I suppose. So I'll wait until I have a full clearance.
Have you even confirmed this with Clayton?
I have, and it's going to be later when the water's a bit warmer because, as we just spoke about, the water is bloody cold.
I'll do it now.
Okay, so there's going to be.
You have done it in like winter. Do you remember when we went wakeboarding and you went wakeboarding? Can I say that?
Yeah,
I can. Yeah, Jake lost a bet, right? And he had to have his boat finished before Christmas time. Anyway, he was nowhere near it. And I said, Jake, if you can't finish your boat for Christmas time, you got to wakeboard behind my boat naked. And to his credit, about 2 years later, he came down to Picton and we went past Loch Mara Resort and Jake had to try and do a wake to wake naked. It's brilliant. It was cold.
I'm still a little bit dubious about your intentions there because I think you were purposely sabotaging my progress on the boat and actually slowing me down just for a chance to see my my goods.
Yeah.
And I've been warned never to do it again because I came off and the big fella got out and the Inter Islander had to add another hour to its journey to go around it.
Oh, come on.
Anyway, let's get our heads out of the gutter. But that's the Nomad Jet. Anyway, that's something really cool. So sort of flowing on from Surtees and my sort of beginning of this transition towards thinking alloy things are cool.
I'm surprised that he even wants to mix and mingle with us plebs.
Yeah, well, probably more so me than you, but hey, we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
The other really cool thing I want to talk about, we touched on the 600 horsepower V12 engine in the last podcast.
Briefly, eh? Yeah.
And we thought that was pretty cool. Like way overdone, but pretty cool. Side note, spoke to a guy at Ray Glass Boats. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. The protectors.
The big ribs. They go like right up to like, something's 12 meters.
Yeah. So they use them for the America's Cup and all these things.
Yeah.
They've just had a quick redesign on their transom so that they can take those V12 outboards.
Ooh.
So how cool. So stay tuned for that. You're going to see those on the back of those protectors. Pretty cool. Keeping in mind that that's going to be awesome.
Unnecessary power. What up?
You say that, but those boats do get used for towing and for camera boats, and they are quite often work boats. And
now they need to have how much horsepower?
Well,
600,
1200 horsepower. But you got to remember, they also sold in the American market too now. They ship a lot of those protectors to America, and Americans don't do anything under about 600 horsepower these days.
Yeah, I know. It's funny, eh? You see like a 6 meter boat go out, which would be considered sizable by our standards, and it's got a 200 on the back, which would be borderline like excessive.
Yeah.
And that heads over through the Hanover outlet or whatever it's called, or haul over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just think, oh, that's a bit on the small side, isn't it? After you've seen these things with 5 or 6 outboards on the back head out.
If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, have a look at that haul over
It is called
boats.
haul over, isn't it?
Haul over inlet.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
fantastic footage of boats. These big American things
Big.
with about 10 outboards on, getting the snot knocked out of them.
Oh, it's a big bar crossing basically where you've got this harbour or I don't know boat harbour that they head out through all sorts of weather, and there's a dude standing there with a camera, and he's got a pretty good setup, and he just takes videos of these guys trying to cross these huge bar waves. It's fantastic. Sometimes they win, and sometimes they get
it wrong. And either way, normally once a video, he zooms in on some woman in a slightly pervy, disturbing way, but that's something to look at.
He's a bit weird.
Something to look
and doesn't say
to.
anything. He's saying stuff the rest of the video, and then all of a sudden he goes quiet. And you go, "You're a dirty fucker."
There's a silence. Yeah, there's silence.
Jake, can you relate? Can you?
No, I don't film it. I don't film it and post it on the internet. That's for sure. But following on, getting back to
oh man, we got to stick to like our, we've got an agenda.
We do, but so we were talking about the 600 horsepower V12 Mercury outboard.
Go back a step. I just thought about this. We have an agenda, but I don't know what it is. Only you do. I'm just going along with this.
Oh well, that's fine because I'll guide us back to it. Because what I want to talk about is a diesel outboard. Outboard called a CXO or a COX. The reason I don't know is they said
CXO and COX.
They said both ways in this article. So I don't know if it's a Cox or not.
I thought it was a COX.
Cox. Okay. Here's the headline numbers. 300 horsepower.
OXC? No?
Google
there is. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Cox Marine, and then it's called a CXO300 is the brand of the...
Okay, righto. There we go. So it's developed by the British Navy, who insisted that they wanted diesel outboards for their fast patrol vessels for doing whatever they need to do with those. I don't know, invading Dunkirk or something. But what they've achieved is obviously made a one for the recreational market. So it's 300 horsepower. That's huge. Okay, I saw it running at the boat show. I've read the review here.
You saw it running?
Yeah, I saw it running. It's a bit noisy, and it's not too fumey, to be fair. Diesels do have a
most things aren't fumey when they're just idling away.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you're moving, it doesn't really matter because it's all going behind you. There's a cup. Yeah. So what do we got? So this was put on the back of it's called a striper for those of you that know. It's basically a center console Bayliner trophy type looking boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
They look big and heavy,
At idle, only marginally louder than the 4-stroke petrol plant. Okay, here we go. 2300 to 2800, they reckon, is the sweet spot for the RPM, which is quite low for an outboard. Okay,
yeah, but it's about right for diesel, isn't it?
That is about right for diesels. So 19 to 25 knots, fuel consumption of 18 to 25 litres an hour. So it's basically a litre
an nautical mile. Less than a third.
Yeah.
Of an equivalent 300 horsepower, because they would be running at about 70.
Yeah. So pretty good on the economy. On the economy side of things, there is one massive problem which we're overlooking here.
You mean the elephant in the room?
Yeah, well, there's two elephants in the room. An elephant being literally, it's 60 kilos heavier than the equivalent petrol outboard. So that's the weight of an extra person.
60 kilos heavier than the equivalent 300 horsepower.
Yeah, so this is a 300, this diesel engine. So let's just say the Yamaha 300 horsepower, whatever. Okay, so it's 60 kilos heavier. So that is a person.
That is a whole person.
Wow. But you're right. The absolute black mark for this engine is, of course,
how much does it cost?
The price. $99,000.
Oh, 100 grand for one.
100 grand for one.
Wow.
Almost double what you'd pay for the equivalent.
Really? Is that far out, man? That's just...
Yeah.
I'm just going right now to go into the old Boats and Marine and what do we call it? Parts and accessories, I think it is, for the old outboard section. That's insane.
Well, it is insane. It's a hell of a lot of diesel to get through to make that worthwhile.
You're right. Like a 250 Mercury 4-stroke V8 Verado,
Yeah.
brand new, 48 grand.
Mm. So
A
there
300 horsepower dual prop Suzuki, only 40 grand.
See, that's a cool engine too with the Duro prop. That is a very
That's
cool
very
engine.
cool.
I have
Yeah,
a bit of a
that
soft
is very
spot for
cool.
those. So you've got to use 50 grand worth of fuel, worth of diesel to make it
Mate,
worthwhile. Now, I'm not a
wow.
mathematician, but that is a shed load of hours on the water.
Yeah, man, it's
Considering
a boat. It's a whole boat, secondhand, a really nice secondhand boat.
Yeah.
With a
So,
300 horsepower on it.
Yeah. And I like it, but I'm not so sure. Which again flows us very nicely to, man, we're good at these segues now.
You're getting real good.
Have
you been? Hey, just sorry before you segue. Have you been getting my shitty boats that I've been sending you?
I have. We'll talk about the dog of the month very shortly, but yes.
Cool.
Anyway,
sorry, your segue.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit distracted because I'm looking at these things. They are absolutely wonderful.
Idiots.
Yes. So we're talking about the diesel outboard. Now the government won't get too political on this podcast, but the government has just announced that there's going to be taxes or levies or however you want to call it on all new vehicles sold very shortly. I think the end of this month.
Was it all new? I thought it was only like anything except electric or whatever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's essentially it's a gas guzzler tax.
Yeah.
If you wanted to break it down, so electric cars are going to have a rebate. Cars with high fuel consumption or what have you are going to
have a higher
penalty. So your Rangers, your Utes, all this.
Yeah.
Here's my question to you: how long before that spills into the outboard industry or the marine industry full stop?
To be honest, mate, I don't think it ever will. Or if it does, it's gonna. No, I don't think it ever will. There's a couple of lakes in America where they're electric only.
Yeah.
But that's for environmental reasons. But I just can't see the benefit, the old benefit of actually how many people use their boat per year versus this, the saving to the environment. I just don't think the savings there, and it'll be a political bomb.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I even think the vehicle side of it is a little bit too far, but we're not going to go into that. But I agree. I think the marine industry is a whole other level again, and the fact that at least with electric cars, some of the technology's there, and there are going to be arguments about infrastructure.
There are some 50 horsepower electric outboards.
Yeah, but 50 horsepower, and we have there is that electric boat which we spoke about way back in our first episode. And the picture of it is on our.
What about is that Dicky one? No, that was the.
It's a little center console. It's on our
No. There's another
channel.
One. Hurley made an electric.
Yes. Hurley did an all-electric boat. That is very cool.
And that thing has like a 1,250 nautical mile range for a 600-liter tank.
Yeah.
That Hurley thing is epic.
So that's cool. Yeah.
I should probably find it pretty quick so we can share it and talk about it.
Well, we can put that on the. I should just write that down to put that on our @Unable Seaman Instagram page. So please make sure you follow that. There is another boat too. It's the X-Shore. Remember we spoke about that in episode 1?
Yeah, man.
And that is also on our @Unable Seaman Instagram channel. That's quite a cool electric boat too. So I do think some of the technology's there.
Yeah.
Again, there's the same problems that plague the electric car industry is going to plague the boating industry, which is infrastructure to charge these things. Where are the fail safes? If you're at sea and this thing loses charge, or water and electricity traditionally don't work that well together. It'd be really good to talk to that guy from Hurley Boats at some point and
see how he got around it.
He got it, so maybe
he has made a couple of stunning boats. I'm trying to find this one. It was in one of the boating magazines that you actually gave me.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to jump on YouTube, I think there's a video on there as well. Do check it out.
I think it's called. Here we go. It's called the Hurley HERLEY electric catamaran. It's a Power Cat 3400. and it's a Roger Hill design. He's well known for his catamarans.
He's well known for his catamarans.
And
Oh,
it's
cool.
electric engines with a diesel generator. Diesel electric.
Yes, diesel electric. Now that makes sense because you still need a fuel source, right? So because if you go into
well, it has a 35 nautical mile range, electric only.
Yeah. So I think there's something to be said there, but it just sort of flowed on from the diesel outboard, this idea of economy and where they're going.
Yeah.
We're looking at the car industry and where that's going. So by 2030, I know in England, 2030 you won't be able to buy a combustion engine anymore, new.
In England.
And I think
Jesus. Yeah. Really?
Yeah, that is 100% true. Yes. And that is
wow.
fairly aspirational for a country.
That is, isn't it? That's impressive, man.
And I think our government has similar aspirations. Now, whether you're Labour, National, left, right, it doesn't matter. Again, we don't want to get too political. I think that's where the world's going.
Yeah,
the world is going to cleaner energy, be it electric, be it whatever.
We're accepting that. She's going downhill if we don't do anything about it, eh?
That's right. So I am intrigued to see where the marine industry goes with that. I know Sea-Doo have started doing some electric jet skis.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, you say ooh, but that makes sense. That totally makes sense because they're a toy, right? You go to the lake,
plug it in, have a zap.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Okay.
I can't tell you the model. I've seen it, but again, jump on YouTube to our listeners, have a look. They're quite cool, and that's a company, a big company that in Rotax engines, their special engine was their thing. It was their point of difference. So for them to essentially ditch that and go to an electric engine,
that's pretty brave, eh?
It's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, I always wondered why they call it a Rotax engine. Anyway, but we don't.
Yeah, I don't know. You're asking the wrong person there.
Yeah, I know. You sometimes don't even. Hey, bro, where's the fuel cap for my truck?
Exactly. I have another couple of things here. Just moving on from boats a little bit to fishing gear.
Oh, what have you got for me?
Well, I actually want to pick your brains because I think this is an area you have much more expertise than me. And
Stop it. Hey, listeners, can you just note this as a pivotal moment in our podcast careers? I have more expertise than Jake.
On this very specific
topic. Sorry. I missed
it. Topic. Okay.
Very specific. Okay, carry on.
Kingfish, chasing kingfish, okay? On jigs.
Yes, on jigs.
Your best overhead set and your best spin set. If money wasn't an option?
Oh, money's not an option.
Let's do money's not an option, and then let's do one for someone who has watched a lot of kingfish action recently and wants to get into it. And the reason I say that is because the more and more I read about the snapper fishery, that every other day seems to be an article about how it's getting absolutely nailed. Doesn't matter where you are in the country, it's getting toasted. And there's such a low survival rate for releasing them. This whole idea of catch and release is being challenged a lot. So kingfish, much more robust.
Yep.
You could bring it up from 300 meters and the thing will swim away fine.
Yep.
So I've made a bit of a conscious effort in my head that I would like to target more kingies.
Yeah, I can. They're robust fish. They get released easily. Well, not easily, but they can be released quite well. They're pretty successful with that.
They fight harder. They're good fun. You find them anywhere. So
eating wise, that I dig it. On the barbecue, the meat holds together really well.
Smoked, I can recommend smoked. Yeah, so those ones they're
a bit bland if you pan fry them, but okay, yep, I agree.
So tell me your best overhead set and your best spin set. Money's not an option.
Overhead, dream overhead set. Okay, here we go. Have you heard of a brand called Maxell?
No.
Okay, so Maxell, they are like an elite jigging reel. You've got sort of Maxell, and then you've got Jigmaster and Jigstar, all those three together. Any of those high-end reels would be epic, but the Maxell Transformer F50, I'll have to send it to you. It is a very sexy piece of kit. And actually, one of our friends, you know how Shane and Troy down in Christchurch?
Yeah.
Troy has an addiction and a slight issue of buying fishing gear.
Good man.
He has I like him. And and Shane is sort of supports this. But anyway, he has axle transformer. I don't know which size exactly.
Okay,
I
so
can't
I've written
remember,
that
but
down, Matt. So I'm going to put that on
max.
our Instagram at Unable Seaman.
It is just like if money was an issue, it is sexy. What does it cost?
What would you be looking for at there?
$900 for the reel.
What $900 for the reel?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's quite a bit, eh?
that's
Okay, it's a little bit excessive.
What about rod? Would you go with an acid wrap? Are you a fan of acid wraps? Or?
It doesn't worry me, but
Yeah.
I'd probably go for a Three Kings special. Okay, it's an older one, but yeah, I'd probably go for Three Kings.
Who makes that?
Jigstar.
Jigstar. Okay, cool.
I'm pretty sure. Oh, I might be wrong. I always get this I'm muddled up. So it's Jigstar or Jigmaster. So let's have a Three Kings jig rod. They look cool. They were like one of the original, get out there and give it. Yeah, it's a Jigmaster. Sorry,
Nice.
Three King special.
Okay.
That sexy rod, man. And do you know the? Is it Richard? Poller or something. He's a Kiwi famous fishing charter guy.
Yeah. No, I know who you're talking about. Rick Pollard or something. Yeah.
Rick Pollard.
Yeah,
that's
Rick
the one.
Pollard, yeah.
He was a part of the team that took this group out fishing that made the Jigging Master Three King special.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah,
and story there too.
Yeah, man. So pretty cool. I had one. You might remember I had one on my overhead set. Sorry, spin set.
Yeah.
But I had it in a ridiculous weight. I had it in the 400 action, which is the 350 to 550 gram. So it was a carry tree broomstick.
You would have been better off using the telephone pole. Yeah.
Yes. So if I could get it again, I'd probably get it in the 120 to 300 gram.
Okay. Oh, that's good advice. So that's your money's not a.
That's money's no issue. Boom. $650 for the rod. $800 for the reel. Oh, sexy.
Okay, so sticking with the overhead before we get to spin, what about for someone who's just getting into it, maybe listening to this podcast because they've got nothing better to do, and is thinking, oh, I could get into a few kingies. What's a good sort of set you would recommend for them?
Oh, okay, real easy. There's two brands out there that I'd go for. The first one would be, everyone knows Shimano, the Shimano Torium 16 PG.
Yeah,
and then it comes
Star Drag, eh?
Yeah, Star Drag, really, really good, really strong, beautiful T handle, and it's got a grappler rod. I think it's a one piece. Most jig rods are one piece.
Yeah.
But it's P6, so it's a bit of a heavy rod. But you pick up one of those. It might even have if it doesn't have a grappler, it'll be even cheaper. It'll be like $400, and you've got a rod and reel.
That's cool.
That's like that's a good quality set. And the other one is the Okuma Metalloid.
Nice.
That's probably an even better set. So that's a lever drag.
Yeah.
I really rate those Okuma Metalloid rods. I've got one as well. After using one, I thought this is choice. I had to buy one.
Yeah.
And awesome grip. I told you, I said, bro, if you're looking for a jig rod, get one. Bang for buck. And $220.
I listened to you because my dad bought one at the boat show.
Yeah, has he hooked up on it?
No, we haven't used it yet. I must admit, he got the reel too. There's a Metalloid reel.
Yeah.
And a rod.
Yeah. And they only sell the Metalloid overhead reel in New Zealand.
Okay.
But they sell both the overhead and spin style rod.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's bang for buck, those bad boys though.
Okay.
I think let's have a quick look. I'm just trying to see if the Metalloid is in here. I'm sitting on Marine Deals.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in here, and I agree with both those choices. I'm not a fan of the Torium for Star Drag. I would go for a lever drag combo. So I've got a Shimano Torsa, which you can't buy anymore, but
you can't. Yeah. And why is it running well now?
Because Christian very kindly organised a service for me. Now it's the second time it's been serviced. I mean,
no, it's not. When the first time doesn't count as a service, you broke it.
I did.
So your mate fixed it.
He did have to fix it. For those that don't know, I made an absolute meal of it. I washed the reel in salt away. Now someone said, "Oh, clean your reels with salt away." So I thought, sweet, filled up a bucket of salt away and threw the reel in, and then wondered why the next time I went to use it, it wouldn't turn. It had actually seized. So my very good friend Dylan very kindly pulled it apart and
Yeah, man.
told me never ever to do that again, and called me
You're
many
lucky,
names
man,
which
that
I
you have friends.
can't repeat on this podcast. And then I've thrashed that reel ever since for
Yeah.
how many years? I Christian will tell you, I do not look after gear. I try to look after gear, but I just don't end up looking after
No,
gear.
you don't even try to look after gear, man. Let's be honest.
And
You use it. So any people out there that want to sponsor us, get in touch with me, not him. I'll look after the bloody gear. So
no, I
oh
disagree. You
god.
should get in touch with me because then I can thrash it and give a realistic sort of analysis of it actually lasting.
Oh.
If
Okay.
a
Oh.
reel can last a season with me or any piece of gear for that matter, chances are it's
Yeah,
fairly robust.
it's probably all right.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
it'll last
I'll
most
give you
people
that. I'll give
5
you.
years.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Cool. I'll give you that. Okay. Get on. Now you want to know spin style, eh?
Just very quickly, some spin sets. I know what I would
Yeah.
have.
Sorry, I had a
I
drink.
would I would go with the well, there's two. It'd be a tie, and it's pretty obvious, really. The Shimano Stella, probably a 10,000 be a bit smaller. What's the next one up after that? 25,000,
Nah, you can. I think they have a 15, don't they?
15,000. Yeah. Any of those
Some of
Stella
that. They'll
reels have
have
got.
some around that size. I can't remember.
Yeah.
They definitely have a 10, definitely 20, but I'm pretty sure there's a mid-sized one.
Yeah. Or the Daiwa Dogfight.
Yeah. Well, what about the Saltiga? How do you not know that?
Saltiga, sorry. Saltiga.
The
That's
dogfight's mean, but
yeah. So those would be my two picks. Fairly generic. Buy them off the shelf. They're pretty dear, so I wouldn't say they're cheap.
twin
Or they're
power, you
top
wouldn't go
end.
for a twin power? Those
Can't
are
get
pretty
them anymore,
sexy.
can you?
Oh, they've got a new model out.
If you
Yeah.
could get a twin power or a Saragossa, there's another cool.
Saragosas are sexy, but they're like middle of the range, eh?
Yeah.
But like mean.
Yeah.
Like if you were saying, hey, I want to spend some good money, but I don't want to spend stupid money like $1,300 for a twin power or a Stella,
Yeah.
what would you recommend? I'd be like, oh, no brainer, go get a Saragossa.
Yeah, I think you're right. So what would you have?
I'd like, is this how big are these kingies that we're going for?
Oh, massive, of course. I mean, we only target big kingies.
Okay, I'll go for probably like a P4 or 6, so something like a 300-gram jig rod with a Saragossa 10,000. If it was going to be like, middle of the range.
Yeah.
And if we're going to go just stupid, I'd probably go for probably a dog fight or something. Yeah, I like a Daiwa dog fight. That's okay.
Cool. I think the beauty
demon blood rod
of a spin set. So I don't know about you, bro. I prefer an overhead jigging set, but the beauty of a spin set is that you can buy two rods and have a jig
and that's
set
what I've done.
and a stick bait set, which is what you've done. And I'm very envious of you for doing that. And I think it's a really, really good way of saving money for targeting both sets. Surface
and it's
fishing
fun to jig on.
Oh,
it's fun to fish. Like when you're jigging even with your top water set, it's a hoot. Like a fish that's 10 kilos feels like it's 30, because you've got such a big lever.
And it's such a visual way of fishing. I haven't done a lot of stick baiting, I must admit, but the times I've done it, I've always enjoyed it. I think it's definitely times where it's on, and then there's other times where it's definitely off. Although that could be said for jigging and for stick baiting, but I love flicking things at channel markers and those sorts of things. It's good fun because you never know.
Like, what's coming to come up? What's going to come up?
Yeah, and as we know, kingies are notoriously difficult when they're not interested. Snapper are more like dogs. So if you put a bit of food in front of them, it's pretty unlucky that they're not going to eat it. Sure, they have bite times and times, but if you're there for long enough, you'll normally get something. Kingies are the opposite. Kingies are like a beautiful woman at a bar. You've got to just have them in the right mood and make sure you've got all the right tackle, so to speak.
The drink's got to be theirs, right? The temperature's got to be right. Has she got her right shoes on? You can't even control that. Yeah. Do I keep going? Did the taxi drop her off? Was their boss nice to her?
Yeah, that's right.
Gosh,
so you got all these things to, for the sake of our female audience, which I don't think we have a female audience.
A massive amount, haven't we?
Apart from your mother.
Oh, ouch.
but yeah, we'll leave the sexism there. But I think you're right. I think I think those sets there are some cool recommendations for anyone wanting to get into it. The other thing I'd recommend is knots. So something I've been
Learn how to
doing,
do an FG knot.
and that's exactly what I've been doing this month. All my jigging, I've learned it, then I've forgotten it. What I've done is I've kept my tackle box in the lounge. Karina
Oh yeah,
absolutely
your
loves it.
missus would love that.
Yeah, she thinks it's a
Yeah, because your
fantastic
tackle
idea.
box smells like a night out in Hamilton.
It does. It's shocking. Um,
It actually is disgusting, bro. We've got to have an intervention. That thing is feral. It's like
again,
someone left a pilchard in there.
I don't look after my gear, so that's the problem. But I've been
Honestly, it gets to the end of the season and it's just like you open it up and it's just a rusty mess of
and I've got to bin it
plastic and
all.
rust.
I've got to throw it all on the
I
bin
know.
and buy new stuff for the next
And
season.
you're a poor teacher, man. You should look
Ah,
after your gear better.
I know. But the point I was making is that what I've been doing is at night tying an FG knot, just one or two a night, and getting my skills up there to the point where I just cannot break it.
Jesus.
There's some cool videos on YouTube. There's some really average videos on YouTube too, I must admit, but there are some cool videos on YouTube to help you.
Because like, let's be honest, every time we went jigging, it'd be, Christian, can you is this leader long enough? And it's
Yeah,
like clearly not. Oh, can you
I'm gonna have to retie.
yeah.
But
I'm like,
I remember Nathan from Big Angry Fish having a conversation. I think you were there too at a boat show many years ago now about knots. You can spend. We've just talked about some sets, some jigging sets there that are well over $1,000.
oh
So
yeah.
$1,000, you could drive all the way to Mare Island, put the gas in. If you can't tie
Yeah.
a decent knot, you are absolutely wasting your time.
Yep. 100%, man. 100%. Yep.
So
And even when you tie a good knot, there'll be other things that happen. So at least get the knots right, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
Because the last thing you want is your hook to bend open and your knot to break.
Yeah.
Because you look like an idiot in both scenarios.
Now,
I've never heard of a rod really breaking on a kingy when you're actually fighting it.
No, I never see my dad and decides to point the rod up towards the sky.
Yeah, that's
but
different.
that was user error. Another thing I just want to quickly pick up on, and again, it's something I've thought of doing, and for listeners out there, because jigging's a bloody dear thing to get into. What do you think about buying bulk packs of jigs from, let's say, AliExpress or China, and using them? Now, I don't like doing that because I must admit I haven't done it yet. You're not supporting the local market, but shit, they're dear in New Zealand.
You get like $30 to $50 each.
Yeah,
and sometimes they don't even come with a hook.
Exactly. So I know you have done it.
Actually, what happened was there was a guy that must have done it. He must have done it, and there was 100 jigs for sale, and I think we got them for $400. So, and we just bought them all. And in all fairness, I've burnt through a lot of mine because I've given them away to mates that don't have jigs to get started. Yeah. And you lose them on Barracuda and on the bottom and all that.
Oh, do you what?
And so I just, and if I want a blue one and I haven't got a blue one, I just get my spray paint out and I have a blue one, or I get the old stick on cellophane blue stuff, and I have blue. Nice. If I want pink, I change whatever colors I've got. Yep. Keep it simple, man. And when the kingies are on, they'll jump on it.
Yeah. The other thing I would recommend too is, and I must give a bit of a plug to my old employer, Burns Co. They've got a product called Edge Fishing. I think it's there.
And they do have some good priced stuff.
They have some good priced jigs. Yeah, I think I'm going to say about $20-$25 a jig, which is pretty good for a complete set.
Yeah, and sometimes they have like 2 for 1, so you'll get like 2 for $30, so they come down to $15 each ish. Yeah, and that's mean. Yeah, man.
So if burnsco.co.nz, I assume if you're listening,
but I definitely reckon if you're going jigging, at least take 3 jigs. Oh my gosh.
Well, just not for losing them, but also for colours. As we spoke earlier, kingies are bloody can be fussy, fussy buggers. So, and there has been times I've been jigging where I've had I like a little bit of pink in my jigs, and I've had
as you can tell, I'm a blue fan.
Yep, and there's been times where we've been fishing and one person's been reaming it in, and another person's barely touched the side. So So there's definitely something to be said for that.
Well, it's like fly fishing, eh, man? Well, we're going to talk about fly fishing, but you got to match the hatch, as they say.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, what does that mean? Anyway, we'll roll over that one. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, we'll do a freshwater episode one day if we want to lose our listener base.
Yeah, okay, cool. Sounds good. If we want to lose our listener base. You want to have old men that smoke a pipe and talk about the weather.
Okay, bro. We better start to wrap this up. We can't wrap up a podcast without doing dog of the month. Now we obviously skipped
Oh, this is
last month.
this is my favorite things. Eh?
Now we skipped last month because we got out of time. Now my suggestion this month is actually from a listener. So Jordan, if you're listening, thanks mate for reaching out. Jordan's a friend of ours.
Do we have a listener?
We've got a listener who reached out and recommended a dog of the month. Now he's actually buying. Well, last I spoke to him anyway, he was looking to buy a little boat. Just side note before we get to dog of the month, you've just reminded me of something. He lives down on a farm with an estuary out to Paringaringa Harbour, I think it is, up north there.
No way.
Tell him and our other listeners as well, but talk to him specifically for a minute. Their little Extreme side console boat you told me about just before we went on air.
Oh yeah, man. So Extreme in 2021 have just bought out a 430 Outcast, which is a side console rather than a center console. So you sit to one side of the boat. It reminds me of a fancy version of Steve, my old yellow trusty de Havilland. It has a 25 horsepower. Don't diss Steve.
I was just about to say there is a picture of Steve on our at Unable Seaman Instagram page for those that may have missed.
It's not the table that's upside down. So yeah, Steve's fantastic. This thing reminds me of Steve. It's got a 25 horsepower Merc on the back, 4-stroke. Bro, remember we used to go out all bloody weekend and use like 10, 15 litres of fuel and clock up like stupid distances, 60 Ks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a beast, but it's 4.3 meters long, 14 foot. It has a trailer, obviously, an outboard, side console. It is $26,000.
Yeah,
which is a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. I suppose it is a new boat, and that is a trailer and outboard, and that is a package. I don't think it includes electronics and everything, but
nah, it doesn't include
electronics. But I imagine,
yeah, would be epic in Paringaringa Harbour. Could you imagine that in those beautiful clear waters?
Bro, perfect for what he wants. So if you're listening,
who's the listener again? What was his name?
Jordan,
man, he doesn't even need a boat. I hear the fishing off the shore is epic there.
Oh no, he needs a boat, mate. I think he's already.
That's right.
So we're not going to go and sort, but throw the guy under the bus here, and he's already got.
Oh no, because if his missus is listening, eh?
Well, exactly. He's already got the tick, so I think.
Okay, cool. No.
Okay, but anyway, coming back to it, he's recommended my dog of the week. Now, of course, all of these are at our Instagram page at Unable Seaman, so please check this out. Okay. I need to send. Have I sent you the link?
No, you haven't. Are you going to share screen with me, or how are you going to do this?
No, I'm going to send you the link is what I'm going to do, and then I'm obviously going to post it onto our page. Now,
wait. Oh, wow.
Jordan, don't buy
this. Don't buy this.
Luckily, Jordan is not going to buy this. It's 4,000. It's a 17.5 foot, which is quite big for an absolute lemon. Looks like this guy's used some sort of downpipe. Some sort of spouting
as
down
the bow rails.
As his bow rail.
Yep. It looks like it's on an old like 6x4 trailer that he's just put some skids on.
Yep.
His jockey, his winch is a tie down to pull the boat up onto the trailer, like a red tie down.
So it's like a little hull, so it shouldn't be a hard top. This guy's put a hard top on top. Now,
oh wow,
do you know what? I think the hard top is a mai. I think he's been down the local lake in his little open cabin boat, and it started to get rainy, and he thought, shit, I know what I'll do. I'm going to pick this thing up and glue it by the looks, because I can't see any bolts, glue it to my very ugly alloy boat. It is just an absolute piece of work.
Do you know what's happened here? I reckon it's actually a bus shelter that he's put on top.
It's a bus shelter. Yeah, no one's stopping for that, though. Then it gets even worse, because I know you're going to try and defend this, but that Suzuki on the back, those old 115.
Well, it's funny. It says 150 horse, but I think what he means is actually 115 horses.
Yeah, 115 horses long ago. Yeah, it does. You're right. It says 150 horse in the description, and the pictures 115, the lying bugger. Anyway, those engines, for listeners, those engines were nicknamed the Mentos because they absolutely corroded from the inside out. Yeah, now we get to the interior. This guy's used a whole lot of like billboards, like real estate signs, or
as the floorboards,
something quality lubricants as the floorboards.
It runs on a tote tank. That tote tank would last 2 minutes with that outboard.
Yeah. So that's
And-
Jordan's.
and then it looks like there's some sort of like black box in the side. I don't know, like a toolbox from the back of a ute.
It does look a bit like that. I don't know.
And he's extended the height of the gunnels too.
He is extended. I mean, when you're winching big kingies, I'm sure this boat's got game fish potential.
Can you imagine looking through that windscreen? Like that is ridiculous. It's like I
wouldn't want to look through the windscreen because I would be fearful that someone would be looking back and see me on what is one of the ugliest pieces of shit ever to feature on this podcast.
Could we? I would buy that just to see what it was like.
$4,000. That's a lot of money for that.
That's a lot of money. Okay, I wouldn't pay $4,000. I probably wouldn't even pay $1,000 for it.
So that's my dog of the month on behalf of Jordan. So thanks, mate, for sending that in. Again, any other listeners?
He wins, mate. I can't beat this. I'm going to show you mine anyway. But this
Jordan,
is a piece of shit.
Just while you're listening to, mate, send me your address and I'll flick you a little something from us to say thank you for listening and thank you for.
What do we even have?
Oh, mate, I've got some jigs. I promise they're not out of my rusty toolbar.
Are those the jigs that I gave you?
They're brand new jigs. Trust me, they're not ones you've given me. They're legit.
Did you go and buy these? Are we like sponsored now or something?
No, we're not sponsored. I'm dipping into my own pocket.
Hey Jordan, this is pretty good because he's a tight ass. He doesn't even give me fucking. Yeah. This is amazing. So I'm gonna get my mum to call him.
So and any other listeners, if you ever have a dog of the month, please submit it and I will pick. And if it features in the podcast, I will. Is
it my turn to shout next week?
It is definitely. Yeah, it's your turn. It's Christian's turn to shout next week. So don't expect much. Okay. Anyway, Christian, submit.
Okay. Can I have? Okay. I'll submit one, but I want to know. Do you want a launch, or do you want a powerboat?
Ooh, I tell you what,
like a sport boat or a launch.
We've already had a powerboat in terms of a trailer boat, so let's go launch. Let's go something.
I'm actually surprised.
Let's go something.
Okay. So the one I've shared with you
is it the yellow?
It says ex Air Force boat.
Ex Air Force boat. Okay, there is.
This is what our Air Force used to have.
I think maybe he means Navy. I don't know if the Air Force really specializes.
It does say it says Air Force though. Crazy. Air Force.
Oh my God! Look at that stained glass window.
Yep. And do you like the tarp on the top?
There's a tarpaulin instead of a hard top. That bow fair lead, whatever it's called at the front, I wouldn't lean on it, let alone tie it off somewhere. In fact, you'd hope it would pull out because then it would drift away and you wouldn't have to look at it.
What a boat, eh? Have you seen? There's a photo here, and you want to see the plywood repair to the front.
Look at this thing! It's hideous. The thing is, do you know what it looks like? It looks like the sort of thing a father makes a stepfather who doesn't really like his kids. He's made these kids a hut in the bush. This is what this looks like.
He doesn't really like his kids. Hey, in all fairness, it's 40 foot long.
It's a big boat. There's one feature of it.
It's ex Air Force boat.
What does that mean?
Needs woodwork repairs and alterations.
Woodwork repairs
on the outside.
It needs a match.
Yeah. Inside is good. Inside is good.
Inside is good. Selling as is. I would not expect.
Steering is good. Ford motor runs good. Steering is good. Would need 2 heavy duty batteries. There is no anchor.
I wouldn't be too heavy duty. They'll go to the bottom of the hull. I'll tell you what's really concerning here is someone's asked a question on it. Hi, any more photos? Mustard face, that's your trade me username. Whoever you are, for God's sake, don't buy that.
Don't, yeah.
20. Hang on, asking price $20.
What is or was the boat's name? Well, this is a good name, W44.
So
the boat's name is W44.
W44. Now, a lot of people are asking about the price. There's some genuine interest in this thing.
Yeah, man.
I am excited. Well, I hope none of those people listening are at Unable Seaman podcast.
This guy offered him, make me an offer, $2,000. Reply, no.
So this guy wants more than $2,000 for this.
Not even worth it. Owner needs to sort his shit out. ... I'll give you the $20 as stated in the asking price and tow it away within a week. Guys, no.
That whoever that person is, I want to know. I'm going to send them some fishing lures too, because that is the best comment. So as that boat will also feature on our at Unable Seaman Instagram channel. So if you want to have a bit of a look there and see what we're talking about, it's called Air Force Boat. If you want to search it on Trade Me, I don't know the relevance of that. It's certainly, if that's our Air Force, we're in deep trouble.
What should I offer him? I'm gonna offer him something.
You're gonna offer him something, okay? But we don't have
$4,000 like your one, and see who wins.
$4,000. Yeah, we'll see if you get it for $4,000, and then the show budget.
And then back out of it quickly.
So we'll keep you updated on that with our next podcast. I'll make a little note here to see if your offer was accepted.
I hope it's not.
If we have, then that is our official at Unable Seaman boat. And,
wouldn't that be gutting?
Maybe that we could take listeners out and we could do podcasts from it.
Oh God, no.
I'm sure it's not up to Ministry of Transport standards, whatever you need to get to have people on board.
4K.
Yeah.
I'll go 4K ...
4K ... Anyway, if the fact that we are making offers on absolute lemons must mean that that clearly things have got out of hand here. So I think it's time to wrap it up before Christian accidentally buys more junk off the internet that we don't have money to pay for.
Yeah, that's true. I don't have the money.
I just want to say thank you to all our listeners. It was really nice to hear from some of you for our last podcast. We do put a lot of work into this, and we try our best. So it's always nice to know that people are listening. So please, again, I keep saying it every episode, reach out, give us a message on Instagram. You can email us at Unable Seaman. We'll just make any sort of way of contacting us. Let us know you're listening. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Submit your dog of the month, and keep listening. As mentioned, we are trying to get Mig from Fishing and Adventure on the podcast. It sounds like he's keen. It's just a case of us all getting in the same place at the same time.
That's pretty much it, eh? Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. Might be next episode, maybe. We'll see.
Never know.
Never know. So stay tuned for that. As always, bro, always a pleasure to talk to you. And
never chore, eh?
Yeah, look, I've disagreed with about 98% of what you said in this episode, but hey, never mind. At least the listeners have something to learn, not how to do it.
Ouch. I love it. Oh, God.
But anyway, we'll see you next month on at Unable Seaman podcast. Thanks again for listening. Adios.
See you.